Le Havre, the destination after the fourth stage, and a dramatic end it was to be as well. Alencon to Le Havre, one of the shortest stages in all 162 kilometres ahead of the riders. We are about to pick up the action with 35 kilometres to go. Two men in the escape, Bruno Thibault and Francesco Cabello. Well, confirmation of the route taken by the fourth stage. David Duffield and Stephen Roach about to pick up the action for us. This is how the shirts were panning out. Jalabert with the leader's jersey, Simon with the climber's polka dots, and Abdou Jafarov, the points leader for now. Dramatic indeed it was to be in the closing stages. Let's see how it goes. David Duffield, Stephen Roach.
These two riders caught up with Yvan Ladenois, who'd been away since about 15 kilometres out. He had quite a nice long lone lead. They finally caught up with him at 63 kilometre point, so he'd had around about 50 kilometres or thereabouts on his own, and then they caught him and then dropped him, so he's gone back into the pack, the GAN rider, and then they've gone off on their own now. 63 kilometres. We covered about 120 kilometres so far, so again they've had a long old time out there in the front, and this main group of riders seem to be quite happy as we're going into this finish at Le Havre after 162 kilometres being covered. Alencon-Le Havre, stage 4 of the Tour de France, and here on the left-hand side of our screens, that's Eros Polly again, the big powerful man. He was a member of the 100 kilometre team time trial squad that got the gold medal a few years ago, so he's up. So here's Abdou Jafarov's in trouble. He's got to stop, and he hasn't got off his bike totally.
He's changed the wheel, Dave.
Yeah, he's got to change the wheel, but he's still leaving his feet in the clip. I think that must make it rather difficult, surely.
He changed the wheel with the rider here in front, his teammate, and the wheel must have been suitable for his bike. So he's not only lost time, but he's also lost a teammate. But it was really a stupid thing to do there for Abdou Jafarov, because what he should have done was kept his teammate with him until the car came up. What he did there was great if they're in the mountain stage and the cars are all over the place and there's 3 or 4 groups, and it means he can save time. But what he's actually done there now is instead of having one teammate with him here, or 2 teammates that you see coming on here, he would have had a 3rd teammate. But now his poor teammate that gave him the wheel is going to be back on his own behind. So he shouldn't have panicked, should have waited until his team car came up, got the wheel from the team car, and then had his teammate waiting for him there just in the wind to bring him back.
The other interesting thing, he still kept one foot clipped into the pedal. Is that a good thing? I thought it sort of presses down the bike. That they normally get off, don't they?
The better thing
lift the front forks up so they can drop it back in again.
The best way of doing it, I found, was just get off the bike and just stand with the 2 feet one either side of the bike, so the mechanic can come and just pull around the front forks as he wishes. Because when you have one foot in the pedal, your bike is very unstable, so the mechanic will find it difficult in putting the wheel back in again.
And also getting a bit of a toe up with them is that Mero Schiller of the Polti team getting a toe up, and we're now switching to our leaders at the front. Well, Abdou Jafarov, the Novell team, are pretty strong. They should get him back, and probably just as well he punks it. Look at these lovely buildings in the background. It's like a creamy coloured material that they painted on the front of the houses, and they get the nice brown wood as well. Lovely architecture, very soft and warm feeling you get going through Normandy. Of course, Normandy, a great place for food and for cider. In fact, I sampled some of the cider, just a small glass last night, and I found it rather fizzier than the cider we had back in England. In fact, the race has come through on its way up to Le Havre through the town of Lisieux, and Lisieux is twinned with Taunton, and of course Taunton, those who know cider, is a great cider making town as well, but the French seem to like their cider with more fizz in it, and when they take the cork off, the corks are actually locked down like a champagne cork. It goes pop, and all the gas inside it, a little bit sweeter, but there you are. You pay your money, you take your choice, and it was certainly a nice little sampling we had yesterday as we're now going through there. I'd say well known for its cider and also for its cheese. Something like about 25% of the cheese that's produced in France comes from this neck of the woods. In fact, the race went within 2 kilometres of Camembert. They don't produce Camembert there any longer. It's actually now produced elsewhere. The Camembert name, like cheddar cheese, goes all over the place. But the real McCoy was made not more than 2 kilometres off this course, not far up for the start we had this morning at Alencon. Polly still on the front. Stevens behind him for the Once team. His flowing locks there in the pink jersey. There the yellow jersey of Jalabert, and plenty of the Gvis people get up to front too as well. Mappin must have been very disappointed yesterday with their team time trial result, and Rominger is going to have to really go some when we get to the time trials and the mountain stages.
I spoke to Rominger this morning and I said to him, what was the story yesterday with the time trial? Very disappointed. He said, Stephen, I wasn't. He says, I felt we couldn't have gone any faster, so how can you be disappointed? He said, if I felt we could have gone faster and we didn't, then I would have been very disappointed. But of course, when you see the time we lost, of course I am disappointed, but at the same time we did our best. We went as fast as we could. We still lost a minute and a half or 2 minutes, so there's no point in crying about it now. So it just unfortunately means that it's more time for him to make up now going into the time trial on Sunday and then the mountains. But he says, like yesterday we were just talking about it, that David saying that Rominger seemed very stressed and uptight maybe, but this morning I found him very, very decontracted and very, very relaxed about the whole thing, and not at all worried. But I think that as the race starts boiling up now, and we get into tomorrow and then into Friday, then approaching the time trial on Sunday, I'm sure he will get a bit tighter again.
And the time trialling on the front of Iris Polly to pull this group along here to catch back our two breakaway leaders. The two men that have been out there since about the 60-odd kilometre point, and we're closing down now to almost another 130, I suppose. They've had quite a long old drag out there in the front. But yes, they've just gone to 127 kilometres. The gap was 24 seconds according to our computer here. The two men, Cabello and Thibault, the field stringing after them. A lot of interest in the Castorama camp as to what's happened to those riders who've been dropped off the back, and the chase too from Abdul Japarov after his puncture. The Nobel team should get him back into contention before we get to the finish in Le Havre. That was a port built by Francois I when the port of Havre, which we actually go through Havre before we go into the Havre. You can see in the distance the bridge now, which is across the Seine, to cut the journey by half an hour rather than going all the way around the Seine to the bridge further down. This one has now been built and has just been opened up, and so the Havre, which was almost obliterated in the 1944 action when the Allies landed close to here, the centre of the town, not a great scenic place to go to, but certainly this is a place where Claude Bonnet was born in Paris and grew up here in Le Havre, and then went back to Paris to do his painting as well. So it's a very important town, Le Havre now, and these riders heading into all these. See the distance, the bridge they're going to go over, just 31 kilometres left. Cabello's still on the front, the winner of that stage into Brighton last year, persisting with his attack, aided by Thibault, but they're in sight and they're certainly not out of mind as far as this big bunch is concerned.
Well, the boys now will start to see this bridge, so they start getting faster and faster. As we see once again, we see Jalabert, yellow jersey Jalabert. We see Indurain in there beside Neil Stevens in 5th position. On the right we see the Givis Balan team with Berzin on the wheel. We see Fondriest there in the back as well. Schmiel is there as well. So they're all the big men are coming to the front now, and the closer we get to this bridge, it is getting faster and faster and faster.
The straight stretch then, certainly for those two riders in the lead, they can only look over their shoulders and see nothing but the cavalry coming up at them now, and they must be very disconcerted about it. They're going to swing over the top of the big bridge across the Seine before very long, and they'll be able to look back over the top of the climb. In fact, over the top they'll sort of disappear for a short period, but somehow at the moment this group here not too bothered at the moment. I'd have thought they must have gone to try and pull back these twosome, because there is that special prize of 30,000 French francs on the top of that bridge. That's £4,000, and nobody seems to be too bothered. There's about 25-30 seconds, so those two might get it. It's amazing to me they haven't really pulled them in before we go up over that bridge.
Well, first of all, there's a race in a race in a race in a race, you know what I mean? And the riders that are riding here in the front are not riding to bring their leaders up for a £4,000 premium. It's not that a £4,000 premium is not enough for them, but there's other things on the boil here. There's the overall winning Tour de France, the possibility of a group getting away and their leader missing it. So that's why the riders here now in the front of the group are protecting their leaders. They're not at all thinking about this £4,000 premium. All they're thinking about doing is keeping their leader to the front, keeping him out of trouble, and making sure that if the group does break, the split, that their leader is in the front. As you see here, sorry David, cut you off, see an island in the middle of the road here. The rider's gone to the left and to the right of it. The rider's gone to the right of it.
Oh, the crash, it's Polly that's come down. It looks like it is Polly that's come down. He was doing so much work on the front.
It's not Polly.
No, it's not Polly, no.
It's too small.
It just suddenly looked a bit too small. You're quite right. I looked at the hairstyle, you see, but he went the wrong side of that central reservation and then had to turn sharp right back again. And the doctor's with him at the moment, having a quick look at him. The doctor Travels just behind the race in one of these open-topped cars, and he's very quickly got to him to just check there's nothing broken. So the first thing he has to do when somebody comes off is to check there's nothing broken, because riders are determined to go back on their bikes, and it's his job to make sure that nobody goes back in with any broken bones, because riders are so keen to get back up again. It's Politano then that's gone down, and it looks as if he's really been hurt.
Maybe not really been hurt, but it's always the first when you hit the ground, it's always very, very painful, as you know yourself, from falling off so many times before. But it's the initial minute or two following the crash, you always feel a lot of pain, but it's only when you get back on your bike then you realise, oh, I can still pedal again. So, but riders are always very reluctant to get back on the bike too fast, because you gotta get a feel for yourself. Just make sure that you haven't got something out of place, or you haven't fractured anything before you do any more damage.
Well, this reminds me too when we took the milk race over the big bridge across the Humber estuary from Barton-on-Humber to Hull, not long after that was opened as well, especially to commemorate that bridge. But this one's a lovely scenic bridge. It's got a total distance of 2,141 metres. The principal arc in the centre is 856 metres across, and the height of those pylons we just had a look at is 214 metres high. So that's a very special bridge here, which has been built to cut the gap across the Seine. It's a Seine going from right to left. It's out to sea, the left-hand side. The river which down the Vikings came to plunder the locality. They settled down in Normandy here, and of course later on the Britons also came across and tried to pinch it. Then William Conqueror went back and had a bash at us at Hastings. So this part of the world has seen a lot of history in the past. We're now looking at one of the modern wonders of the world, this beautiful scenic bridge here, and there's a sprint at the top which is worth 30,000 French francs, and Cabello and Thibault are going for it.
The hard part of this bridge is you keep looking up, all you can see is the road rising ahead of you. You feel very, very heavy, because you just see the road going up and you feel like you're not going any faster. The wall here to your left hand side is actually sheltering them a small bit from the wind which is coming up from the sea on the left hand side, but the bunch now catching them up very quickly.
And they're heading towards this special sprint at the top of the climb. Special sprint coming up. There's a special sprint on the top of the climb. We've gone to Q break. That's bloody stupid. And the riders then heading off toward this special sprint. A helicopter picking up these two men. 30,000 French francs there is on the line at the top of here. And let's see who's going to get it between Cabello and Thibault. The rest of the field stringing out behind them. Are they going to get him in time? Launching their attack up this long, gradual climb. 4,000 pounds at stake. And who's going to get it? Thibault's launching himself forward. And behind him then Cabello. Looks like he hasn't got a pen. Goes to Thibault. Thibault gets the special prime of 30,000 French francs. The first man over the top of this brand new bridge across the Havre. They're going down the other side, then up. Yet another twisting bridge as well. The main field now have the escapers in sight.
Well, you can see that they're all now in one line, because the wind is blowing in very, very strongly from this side of the bridge. So but it's very interesting to see now if some team has it in mind maybe to attack, maybe, or to make it hard. But I would have thought that if not on this part of the bridge, but on the second part of the bridge, that there should be some kind of attack, some kind of a breakdown in the group, because definitely the opportunity is there for some team to go in the front and try and break it up, but because we're getting very, very close to the finish, and all the way to the finish now, it'll be basically a headwind, a crosswind and a rear tailwind then for the last 2 kilometres.
Streaming along the field, now they can smell the sea. In fact, they can smell more than the sea, because once you get down the other side of it, I don't know if you had your windows up or down, Steve, but I had the roof of my Rover open, and this great gust of petroleum smell came into my nose, because they've got refineries down here, and I think after they've been riding this 100 miles or so to go along here with their lungs gasping for oxygen, they're going to find themselves going a bit dizzy, I should think. The smell of the petroleum is quite something. And there goes your curly and cheese people. They're going to bring some cheese today. I missed my lunch yesterday.
Actually, today with us we have people from Marks and Spencer's with us today as our guests with the Coeur de Lion.
Well, from England, Mark.
From England, yeah. They're the importers of Coeur de Lion in England, and they market it under the Marks and Spencer name, not under Coeur de Lion. But it's very successful in England at the moment, I believe.
You'll note from this, listeners back at home, that Stephen has another interest in this race. I'm calling the big cheese from now on in more ways than one. And those who know never heard him speak before. He's my good friend from Dublin, winner of the Tour de France and the Tour of Italy and the World Championship, all in the same year in 87. They've caught the 2 breakaways and it's all systems go. The stuff's now hitting the fan, isn't it? This is a eyeballs out section. They'll be seeing the 25 kilometres to go, and they're going straight now through the peage, as they call it, the toll bridge, and nobody's got any money off this little lot, I tell you.
That's another Ganway. That's Francis Morrow, is it, on the left-hand side of the screen here, having a go. It's someone like Morrow you need to kind of split this group up, because you need someone that is very, very fast and can ride fast for a long period. So you can see the group splitting here a little bit, and all you want now is start going over the second bridge and get the wind from the side again. And behind, you see everybody racing into the right-hand gutter here, or the left-hand gutter, looking at the screen here, because the wind is blowing very, very strong from the left-hand side of the road. So the only bit of shelter you can get is on the wheels, being on the right-hand side of the rider in front of you. So I think that this is an ideal opportunity for somebody to really make the other boys behind hurt. So I'd be very surprised if somebody doesn't attack here.
And look, it looks like Armstrong up there at the moment. Also, is that Ekimov coming up? And Van der Aarden, the strong men are beginning to come through. Yes, yeah.
Schmiel,
yeah. The ones who don't want to go for a sprint. But look how the Benestos are pulling Indurain up here to keep them out of trouble as well. And they've caught that little group who are trying to get away at the front.
This is very good tactics now from Benesto, because what they're doing is they're keeping up the tempo. They're sticking themselves to the wall here, as you see on the right hand side of the screen. The wind is coming in from there, so if anybody wants to attack, they got to go right up on the far side, up and into the wind. So Benesto now are doing a very good job of keeping together. They have a very, very good tactic now on doing this, because if they are too much into the left hand side of the road, it means that people could fly by them on the right hand side of the road. So it's a good tactics there by the Benesto team. As you can see, the bridge here going up the top here, and it just plunges down to the far side, where there'll be once again a crosswind, but it becomes more of a cross tailwind. So the risks of splitting because of the wind are becoming more slim.
And that long climb up there will surprise a few riders. I think they will have seen it in the distance, but it is a hell of a drag, and I'm not surprised they didn't put a King of the Mountains competition at the top of this one too. But the field, you see out there, Salah begin to struggle now. Just 23 kilometres to go for the riders in this stage 4 of the Tour de France, heading towards Le Havre, and the Benestos on the front. We've been into Le Havre several times in the past. In fact, the first came here in 1911. That was the Tour de France dates back to 1903, so they came here in 1911, and those days they only had 15 stages for the race, and they were actually covering something like 5,000 kilometres. So you can imagine how big the stages were in those days to cover around about 5,500 kilometres in 15 days of racing. They came in 1911, 1912, 1913, 1914. They had a break a bit for the war, and they came back again in 1919 into Le Havre. So it's featured very strongly in the Tour de France over many years now. 18 times the race has finished in Le Havre. The last victor here in 1991 with Thierry Marie, 1983 with Demir, and in 1979 they had the team time trial here when the TI Rally team came home in first place. And in 1962 Van der Bergen won the stage. 1955 the depart of the Tour was here. So since the war, 1955 depart the Tour. Van der Bergen 62, Rally won the team time trial 79, Demir 83, and Thierry Marie. They're heading into this historic town, but the riders over a very, very modern part of bridge building, because there's so much traffic comes in and out of Le Havre now. It's a place where I know many of you go on holiday, you get on the ferries. In fact, I'm going back across from Le Havre to Portsmouth on my way back to England when the Tour de France is finished. So I won't quite come this way because I'm coming from Paris. I think we come a bit from the left-hand side of where we're looking at now into Le Havre to catch the ferry over to Portsmouth. The long string of following cars behind these riders are getting a beautiful view. It was an amazing sight going over the Seine and the Le Havre canal. And this group are all together now as they're getting in toward the 20-kilometre point for the finish in Le Havre, which could boil down to a massive sprint from these riders left on this stage 4. The riders now over the 2 bridges which are across both the Seine and the canal going to Le Havre. This big sweeping bend as they swing off the bridge, and that remarkable piece of corkscrew sculpture. One thing I must say about France, there's an attitude here towards works of great importance, and then they'll put up great sculptures as well. It's just amazing. They have this sort of feeling. I don't see you get it really anywhere else in the world. If they make a superb bridge, they put up a beautiful piece of sculpture as as well, and you go wow when you go past and see these things. They're just like nothing else. And wow what we got today too, because despite the fact they're still in sight of the main pack, we've got Francis Morrow, who tried to get away, and Stephen was shaking his head a bit here. He just didn't think it was a sensible thing to do. What would you do,
well,
Stephen?
I was hoping that Francis Morrow would have tried a little earlier actually to get away on the bridge, because he's the kind of a guy that he can ride very fast for a very long period. So I was waiting for somebody to wake it up, so I was very happy to see actually Francis Morrow out there, but it is a very long way to the finish with as the group is still very compact behind. If the group had a split on those two bridges, it would have been a great move for Morrow to go away, but because now the sprinters now are all intact from being the group behind, it'll be very difficult for Morrow and Sepperlini to stay away with only 80 odd kilometres to go. But at the same time, it's getting themselves publicity, and also for the GAN team and the Lampert team, because with, of course, the unfortunate abandon of Chris Boardman, and then, of course, once again with Eddie Senior of the GAN team, every bit of publicity they can get, the GAN team leader at the moment.
And Morrow, as ex-pursuit champion of the world, certainly can time himself for a long effort, but it's a bit further than he would normally like to go, I'd have thought, on this particular occasion. The Venesto team coming along here, pulling the field along. They're not going to be looking for a stage victory today. They just want to keep Indurain out of trouble, make sure we don't have those crashes, which have been the feature of the runs in towards the finishes. And the Bunyo's on the left-hand side, just had a quick look at him there. Again, somehow I got deep down a feeling if Gianni Bunyo's going to do something. Whether it's today or not, I don't know. But I don't know, Stephen, it just looks like he's hovering in there, isn't he?
Well, the fact that he's hovering around the front, most days, there's definitely a meaning in there somewhere. It's either, I'd say we will see him doing something on Sunday, because at the moment everybody's more or less forgetting about him, saying that poor Gianni, it's over. But I think someday he will do something and just surprise a whole lot of us, and of course his rivals. But yesterday he apparently spoke to some of his teammates, and they were saying that he killed them all in the time trial, because he just rode and rode and rode, didn't have no consideration at all for the teammates, whether they were strong or weak, and he rode them all into the ground. But at the same time, that kind of strength, when you harness it into one day or into one mountain climb, he can be very, very strong, and we all know that Bunyo is a very, very strong rider. So it'll be very interesting to see now when we get down towards the mountain, or the first time trial on Sunday. It'll be interesting to see how Bunyo comes out.
And they're heading in towards the Havre, as I say, a place, a town where many Brits come backwards and forwards on the ferries. And two Brits, Martin and Cathy, they said, would I please say hello to Dad this afternoon, Alan Newstead, up there in Morley near Leeds. Of course, Morley, that's where Beryl Burton comes from as well. So hello to Alan Newstead up there at Morley. This isn't like a chat show on the radio, but occasionally people pass me bits of paper, and if we have time, we'll say hello to all you people back in England, and to those people listening across the whole of Europe. Stephen, the other day we had a quick word in Italian. I know that we do have a number of people out there listening to us in Italian, and Gavis did a great ride yesterday. Perhaps you'd like to talk to our viewers over there before we get to the big sprint stuff coming on.
In Italian you mean?
Yes, in Italian.
No, spero che tutti i tifosi italiani vanno bene, che spero che ti trovi la trasmissione di Eurosport buono, e spero che ritrovarti più avanti quando andiamo in montagna, perché abbiamo tanti tempo di televisione, tanti tempo di trasmissione a fare, e speriamo di far vedere tanti colori italiano.
Well, there we are then, and thanks to all you people tuning in all the way across Europe to the English version. We do transmit in French and in German and Dutch and Swedish and Finnish and Spanish, of course. And here, going into big international port of Le Havre, we've got the Frenchman out here for the GAN team, Morrow, trying very hard to stay away, together with the rider from the Lampre team, Sepperlini of Italy. Coming up then towards the 1,000 metres from the sprint. This is the sprint coming up now for the final sprint of the day, and we've still got the mountain climb yet to come on 4-kilometre sprint. Who's going to take this one? As Morrow on the front there goes towards that line with the final climb of the day yet to come, the fourth category climb of the Applemont. Still Morrow on the front here. Morrow
has those handlebars, those
yes,
bars.
Looking for that very low position. It's amazing how this new technology comes, but they're thundering in through there. Morrow has managed to stay clear of the field, but in third spot that was Jalabert. Picking himself up 2 seconds bonus. That was yellow jersey. I'm sure that's Jalabert. There was 2 seconds bonus. He came out of there. He didn't get those first 2 minutes. Jalabert came across there very quickly indeed. So Jalabert now is 10 seconds in the lead from Ivan Gotti. Gotti over this then now dropped back 2 seconds, and the gap is 27 seconds to our leaders out on the road, Morrow and Serpellini. Good ride by Jalabert out of that little pack to pick up those 2 seconds, because over the next few days till we get the time trial, there's only going to be seconds in this race, and Jalabert wants to keep that yellow jersey on his back. He's had a tremendous start to the season. He won the Milan-San Remo when he outsprinted Maurizio Fondres. He went on then to win the Paris-Nice as well, and there we have confirmation of the fact that Jalabert picked up not only 2 points in the competition, or the points part of the Tour de France, but also he got himself 2 vital seconds in the yellow jersey. The colours there, the blue ones and the yellow, that is for Mario Cipollini, as you see coming through now. Abdul Japarov is on Cipollini's wheel. It's Bunyo. I just saw the green come forward on my monitor here, and I thought it was Abdu, but of course it's green, white and red, and it's Bunyo who's been hovering there or thereabouts. And I also saw the figure of Nelson in the front, and that looks to me like Konishev just down there for the Akai team as well. So the sprinters are, yes, and also Nelson, who got in the wrong group the other day, is now making sure he's up the front of this little pack. Because the Mercatone Union, if you didn't watch our programme a couple of days ago, they did the old 1-2. They put about 4 men up the front, driving hard to tow Cipollini along. They dropped another 4 or 5 back in the middle of the pack, and when they got the opportunity, they just put their brakes on, slowed it down, and split the field by 10 seconds. Nelson was in the back group, Zabel was in the back group, and so that's how Cipollini had less competition when he came to the sprint. But Bunyo on the front now, he's not going to be caught out this time like that.
Well, Bunyo is riding once again for his own team, but also for his own himself, because he doesn't want to be left behind, like it's happening so often in other circumstances. We just see Nielsen here. We see he's in 4th place. Nielsen, Bunyo just dropping back a snub. Oh, nearly actually hitting somebody, nearly coming up. Bunyo himself is he's not very straight on the bike. We saw him in the prologue the other day in the wet. He wasn't very not very flexible on the bike. We just saw him getting a small nudge there from somebody where he misjudged the gap, and no one wants to falling on, nearly falling off, but having to move out of the way.
So after the early attack this morning, we went over the first climb of the day when Veronk took that one ahead of Konishev and de Klerk. Shortly after that, just a few kilometres down the road, Lenoir went away, and he had a long session out the front. He gained 3.5 minutes lead, but he was followed up by the 2 chasers and then the main pack after that. And the sprinters then could see their chance of getting a stage success today. But just these 2 riders up in front, still hanging on for grim death. Morrow with Serpellini. They're getting on this climb, which is a rather nasty, tricky little one, and the road twists and turns before they thunder down in towards the seafront, so it's going to be a lot harder than some people, I think, have understood on the run in towards the harbour. I certainly thought it was a flatter route in, but they found a nasty set of little climbs for these riders, and the gap now is less than a half minute. They're pulling forward the Mavic neutral service station, so it looks like or new service cars, it looks like these 2 riders' moment of glory on the front is over and done with. Here we are, this is the climb we're on now, 149 kilometres covered of the 162 kilometres we've got today, so still some way to go, about 11 kilometres left. It's quite they suddenly thought, we're in the harbour, but they're not. They've got a little circuit to do before they drop back down. And there we can see those handlebars, those special additions that Morrow got in the front, which enabled him to get that unusual position into the wind, but I reckon this lot are going to get him before long. See also the green and yellow colours coming up the front, that's for Lombardi's team, yes. The politician, Lombardi himself. Yaskula, that looks like climbing up there for the Akai team.
It's the first time I've seen him in a while. We've seen him, of course, but being so close to the front, it's the first time I've seen him since the start of the tour 3 days ago.
And toiling up this climb, it's certainly a lot harder than most people would have thought. I should think Serpellini on the front for the Lampre team. Of course, his good sprinter, not only Fondres, but also who tried to win the stage a couple of days ago with Skibby when they were on that long drag and got sort of swallowed up just within about the last 500 metres of the line. But Serrada is also a very good man when it comes to thundering down the finishing straight. But I think Serrada might find he's got too much work to try and beat people like Cipollini, Abdul Japarov, and the sprinter Jalabert, who probably is still looking for the bonuses, because there's 20 seconds first across the line, 12 seconds for second place, and 8 seconds for third. We've already seen Jalabert pinch a couple of seconds. He's still overall race leader in this Tour de France. Gotti.
Armstrong is tagging.
Yep.
But Zule's on his wheel, so he won't go, I wouldn't think. Zule's on his wheel, so there's no point in Armstrong continuing his effort, because if he gets away with Zule, he knows that it's doomed anyway, because he's still going, but he's only doing it half-heartedly, because if he keeps going with Zule on his wheel, Indurain and Romain-Garrett's team won't let Zule go away. So it's unfortunate for Armstrong. If he had been on his own, he might have maybe have been able to get a gap there.
Those bonuses then, 20, 12 and 8. None of the sprinters, except for Jalabert, because he's amazing, he's a Roman sprinter. None of the real top sprinters are really in contention for the overall victory, overall honours on the general classification.
Schmiel knows second position there. He's in heaven knows for the break. You saw him the other day taking off with a kilometre to go and being caught with about 200 metres to go. There he is again now. You see somebody attacking from the MG team. He's straight onto the wheel. He's someone to be reckoned. I think is someone to be watched very, very careful over the next 2 or 3 stages, especially the stage into Liège.
And looking down that general classification again, there's no sprinters that could probably challenge that yellow jersey, but I'm sure that Jalabert will try and get himself in contention to improve his position, but we'll have to wait and see how it sets up later on. All a matter of judgment to be in the right place, right. And amazing, Gavis going for this one now. Well, you're not going to think that Berzin's trying to get 20 seconds out of Jalabert, eh?
Indurain in 3rd position and Bunyo back in 4th position, which is very strange.
That's Frattini on the front.
Normally they'd be letting like Indurain is lying 10th or 11th place back and letting his teammates going to ride on slowly, but he wouldn't be using up the energy jumping onto the wheels in the final. So it's a sign he must be in really good form.
And there they are, getting towards about 10 kilometres to go, and the main pack still all together. Villeneuve trying to get away though. I think that's, yes, we go. Armstrong, Zule, Berzin, those are the positions over the top of that climb, but Gianni Bunyo going. He did exactly the same thing in Brighton when he won the World Cup there a few years ago on a somewhat similar sort of circuit round. He went up towards the race course at the top and left everybody, and he stormed away. He just seems to be able to turn it into overdrive and go, doesn't he?
He does, and if you look at him now, he's not at all impressive at all. You look at him now, the riders are very same. The riders are back in the bunch, looking at Bunyo going away and saying, oh, where's he going? But he's actually going very, very fast. You see him here, his legs just going around the same gear as the other boys, but you don't get the impression he's actually going fast. As you see here behind it, look at him there, look. He was there for a Sunday run, wouldn't you?
Yes, it did.
It's very, very deceptive, really, watching him.
As I say, it looks like the rest of the field, though, not going to let him have an easy time like he did that occasion in the Wincanton Classic, as it was before he went to Leeds and became the Leeds Classic, the round of the World Cup, when we had it down there at Brighton, and they came along the front and went up Wilson Avenue towards the top of the race course and back down, and he took off on the climb, and nobody could catch him. He's looking back now to see what damage he's done, and certainly that, I'm not sure it was just a test or not. Oh, got a speeder, somebody jumping across to him now. It looks like a Gavis colour yet again, and it is.
Guido Bontempi.
10 kilometres ago, Guido Bontempi's launched himself into the front of this one. Here's another man who's no stranger to getting stage success in the Tour de France. He's getting a bit old in the tusk now, but he's certainly got a good turn of speed if they let him use it. And then after again goes the GB. It is a Chavez gone now. Let's have a look. No, it isn't. And all the way left, right and centre. The attacks are coming thick and fast now. They're certainly not letting this lot go at all.
It's actually Ellie, I think it is.
Well, he's another one who's
another good man for the final of the race.
Sort of
but Berzin told me this morning that Bontempi said last year he was a great rider in Team Time Trials, but yesterday Bontempi was an incredible asset to him in the winning, to help in the winning of the Team Time Trial yesterday, because he was an incredible driver. He rode and rode and rode. We saw on our screens yesterday at the end of the Time Trial where we saw Bontempi was going reasonably good, but Berzin confirmed to me this morning that Bontempi had incredible form yesterday, and he's never seen him ever going in the last year anyway, so well in a Team Time Trial.
And TVM on the left-hand side, this could well be Skippy again. I think, well, one of his teammates, they seem to go, look at them going all over the place. The men who aren't going to be in with a shout when we come down the front and along the sandy beaches, they've got to try and prize this one apart. They'll go past where the people get onto the boats, and but they're certainly at the moment, as far as they're concerned, these chaps who like to go from maybe 5-6 kilometres out, determined to keep the pace as fast as they can.
Is that Bunyo again, is it? I think so.
It is Bunyo yet again. He went right on the far side, back in again. He's really motoring. It is, what an amazing performance from this man. You'd have thought he'd have waited a bit longer. 10 kilometres still, he's just a little bit far out,
well,
isn't it?
Hopefully it's a sign that he's bubbling with energy, and hopefully we'll see him doing great things in the mountains. But with Bunny, you'll never tell. So we have to take things one day at a time.
And look how the field's still jumping all over the place. Every man for himself at the moment. And this must be a very heart-stopping moment for the sprinters. They've got to sit there. They're not going to go. They're not going to lose the call. They've got to stay in there, haven't they? I mean, it must be something that all heart must go just in case you don't do it.
It is, but that's the way sprinters are. And normally in this kind of situation, it's very hard for riders to get away because everybody rides after everybody. So it's less dangerous to have a group going away now than it would be, for example, 20 kilometers to go. Groups do go away, of course, but at the same time, with the momentum of the group, of the peloton itself, compared to the breakaway groups, normally it's normally in the sprinter's favour.
And of course, there's a big sweep down. They're dropping off that climb. They're going to have a sharp left-hander coming up as well. This is not a. There's a very fast descent. That's it. There's even a bigger left-hander than this one. They've got to take in a sharp one. There is at some point. Yeah.
The hairpin on the bottom of it.
Isn't it? Very steep hairpin bend. And they're dropping down there, but they're doing around about 45, 50 miles an hour at the moment. So of course you can't really get away with. Look at the way they're going down here. Thick end of 50 miles an hour, and they'll be racing now for just under 100 miles since we left the start this morning at Alencon on this stage 4 of the Tour de France into Le Havre.
There's two riders now here after getting a bit of a gap on us. With the cameras today and our screen, the sunshine, or a bit of sunshine there is coming down on our screen, it's difficult to see who it is actually.
And again, it's one of the TVM riders that's gone off the front at the moment.
It's like two TVM riders, really, isn't it?
Yep, well...
It is, yeah. Looks like two TVM riders.
No, they've got one of the Polti ones with them. It's certainly TVM on the front, and it's not Skippy this time round, but...
Novel riders, isn't it?
No, TVM and Polti. This could be Fidanza on the front then, but why is he going at the moment and stretching it without thinking of Lombardi? Well, I'm not sure. Certainly he's got an ability to go a lot further out, and he's looking back over his shoulder, probably to see, hey, where's Lombardi gone to?
Yeah. But it's in Lombardi's favour because it means that at least the Polti team haven't got the ride in the front to close down the gap. So it's riding into Lombardi's favour. It means Lombardi gets an easier ride into the finish. Is it Skippy, is it?
No, I don't think so. We're having some difficulty here with our screen. Sorry about this one, viewers back at home, but...
the jerseys look very alike, don't they? But one is in red writing, one's in black writing.
Well, the TVM, they're so much the same, but it looks like Yellow Nidam. It's Nidam. Yeah, it's Yellow Nidam. He's another man that I go along with. Yellow Nidam it is that's gone away there for TVM, and he's got the Polti rider with him as well. And they're still having a go at the front, and it's Herman Friesen, I think, the Polti rider. So there's two old stalwarts if everyone knew two. Friesen and
two very, very good men for the end.
But they've been joined very quickly down, rocketing it across here. One of the riders.
It's not Brochard, is it? Brochard from Festina.
It looks like with the long flowing hair at the back. It's Brochard, isn't it?
No, it's not actually.
He's a local man, isn't he?
It's Festina, but it's not Brochard. Or is it?
It's a fellow with the flowing locks.
Brochard won't go anywhere because he's second on GC. Or where's in GC, is he? Oh, he went down yesterday. He lost a lot of time yesterday.
No, he lost a lot of time. Brochard's down because his team lost a lot of time. It's Brochard. And again, I think he's a fairly local man too, certainly from the Normandy area. And he knows this finish very well indeed. He's probably hoping all day it would come back together. He might have been training up this one as well, but they've suddenly come across him as well. And the system's changing left, right and centre. As one of the Telecom riders goes up to it as well.
Skippy.
Skibby's gone. This is Skibby now, isn't it? Yeah. And but the Telecom rider won't ride this one because they're going to set it up for Zabel. Zabel's number, by the way, if you've got a better picture than us at home, is 206. That's the one to watch for the Telecom colours. I've got him in my prognostications of finishing third today. We'll see what happens. It could be the kiss of death as far as he goes. 5 kilometres to go now. They're still hammering around all over the place. And this time MG are having a bit of a go. Oh, a big burst of banjo from MG. Everybody's having a real good go while the sprinters are still just sitting in there 5 kilometres ago. They've dropped down. We've still got about another, 2.5 kilometres down before we hit the seafront. Then it winds its way in parallel to the sea.
Is that Monsieur?
It does look like Monsieur, definitely. Again, Monsieur would probably like to go for a slightly longer one. He's got the power.
Yeah, now Monsieur is not sprinting as well as he was a couple of years ago, so he has to go from far out. So, yeah, it looks very like Monsieur from Mappé.
And he was looking back to what done, I think he's running a bit out of steam there. In fact, they're setting up. This could work in his favour. It looks like the steam has gone out of the chasers just a little bit, and if it is Museo, that's that sharp left-hander, and they're all easing around this one. Keep your fingers crossed for this big field, about 180 riders swinging around that sharp left-hander.
as Muccio stays away here on his own. He's holding off the back group who are breathing down his neck, but there's 4.5 kilometers to go. He must go down now onto the sea front where we get the wind 3/4 on his back, so it's going to be a very, very hard challenge for Muccio to stay away today.
Well, he's done just the right thing with the sprinters in that pack behind him. So for MG Technigen, they had a stage success with Fabio Baldato already. That's one to his team. The other team rider, of course, in fact, no, Musso, of course, riding on Mappe. My mistake. They switched the team because it used to be MG GB, then GB Mappe. They're mucking around, but he's the Mappe. Just to confuse the
comes down here now to the seafront where he has another 2 kilometers of a tail crosswind, which will help, of course, the points more than will help him. Then he starts going inland then towards the finish here. For the last 2 kilometers, a bit of lefts and rights and everything else. But one thing that amazed me about today was that some of the islands and these artificial obstacles that I call them, they've actually gone straight through them and put a road through them. There's a roundabout there, we might see it later on here, and put the road straight through it, which that can only be seen, of course, in Tour de France.
And the speed of this chasing pack now well over 40 miles an hour. Chamil is on the front trailing along. Chamil working hard for Nelson. Yeah, and working hard here because they want the success today from Nelson in the championship jersey of Belgium. He failed it. Oh, he's gone straight in the barrel. They've gone all over the place. Missed it. That was sort of sharp left-hand turn. I noticed him when we came on. He went straight in the barrel. He brought riders down. This is the problem of high-speed finishes that you get in the Tour de France when they're travelling at between 45 and 50 miles an hour. You just can't take the bend, and the rider on the front has gone straight into barriers. Consternation has set in the camp, and still, though those who escaped it, have they opened up a split to stay away? And what's happened to sprinters? That's Nelson has gone down there. That's Nelson. Well, at Armentières he crashed and rode himself off for the rest of the season. Marilles it is flat out as well. And Jalabert was brought down. Jalabert was brought down, and he's not inside the final kilometre.
No.
So the time won't surely he might lose the time. Jalabert was brought down.
There's no teammates there either. His teammates haven't seen him.
Jalabert in the yellow, and Van der Aar looking back over his shoulder then.
And that wasn't Berzin, was it?
Berzin, I think it's Berzin was in there as well. It was certainly one of the Gewiss riders.
That's why the top riders try to stay in the front as much as they can coming into the end of the race.
Well, this could make a great change overall. Van der Aar now ploughing along, and on his wheel is Jalabert. This is an amazing turn up for the books in this stage into La, but still on the front. There's still who's going to get the stage victory. Their hearts must be going, the butterflies must be in their stomach. The nerves of these men, nerves of steel to go at this speed, and still they're attacking.
Well, the fact you must take into consideration here as well that Jalabert must get as close as he can to the back of the bunch. He must even get into it because the time is taken from the first rider across the line to the first rider in his group. So even though he might seem more to be 10 metres or 15 metres off the back of the group, the time is taken from the first rider to the one group, the first rider in the next group.
So we're inside 1 kilometre to go. Still Lotto there looking, and look who Chamil has made it. I can certainly see one of the Motorola riders in. Might be Armstrong that's made it. Cipollini certainly is in this little group too, lying just behind his teammates. So Cipollini's made it at the moment, and the Armstrong, whoever it was, and Motorola's drifted off. He can't hold the pace, as it looks like Chamil swung out, couldn't hold it either. And Cipollini is still nicely placed in this pack then. We're going to have to watch them as they go through here and just see closely who's going to get this one. And so down this finishing straight, who's going to get this one? On the left, MG Technicom, nicely placed. Cipollini now is in back there. Zabel is there too, and Zabel is there also beyond Reese as well. And Zabel is going. Taffy's on the other side.
Mocassin on the right.
And there they go toward the line, and still it's Zabel on the front. Zabel and Cipollini. Cipollini and Zabel are going for it. Abdul Jafrov. No, but as they go to the line, it's Cipollini from Zabel, and just behind him Moncassin, I think it was, into third spot. Yes, Moncassin took third spot. So it was Cipollini in there just ahead of Zabel, and Moncassin in that order after an eventful happening. And let's look out for the yellow jersey to see where he's got to. Coming in here now, we're looking very closely into this pack as to whether Jalabert has made it. In his pack he's not made it. We're looking in the group, and the clock is showing 24 seconds have gone. So Jalabert coming in here. This is a disaster then for the man in the yellow jersey. And who else is coming in there with him at the moment of importance? We thought
it's incredible his teammates haven't waited for him. Haven't seen it.
See Berzin in his group anyway, any chance? You look at this little group. I'll watch the dot coming in. You look to see us going. Abdul Jafrov's finished anyway, but I want to see if Berzin is in that group. And Romick.
No, Berzin's finished already. Is.
It's only finished, and here comes Jalabert. He's 50 seconds down, so he's going to lose that yellow jersey. I don't think they'll count that one as being inside the last kilometre. It was outside that, so I think he's lost time on that one. It was Colombo, the Gavis team, that came in with him. And what a day we've had here in Le Havre. And that terrible swing round that bend. We're looking now at the sprint. Zabel on the front. Then we have Cipollini on the left-hand side. Moncassin for the Nobel team, trying to come up to them as fast as he could do. But right now, it's Cipollini taking his success. He stayed out of trouble. Zabel got second, and Moncassin got into third spot. Well, I got 2 out of 3 today in my prognostication. I got both Cipollini and Zabel down there, but I forget who I got into second, but I got Zabel down third. But Moncassin it was that nearly got up on the line, came up so quickly indeed for Nobel. But Cipollini, the Lion King himself, Super Mario, takes the stage into Le Havre after a tumultuous crash on the way in. We may have another look at that one, but it looked like Sammy Bareilles of the Lotto team was very badly knocked about when he came down. A disappointment too for Nelson, who crashed at Armentières on stage 2 of the Tour de France just 12 months ago. He was brought down as well. The time then 3 hours 40 minutes and 23 seconds for the race, which was just over 100 miles today. The sea is calm, but the drama is high in Le Havre after that crash. We're just seeing, we're at the finish line here, seeing Eric van der Aarden coming through. He was one of those delayed in that crash. Here come the remnants of the riders. Some brought down the crash, some of them who got blasted out on that final run in towards the finish of what has been a most eventful day in the Tour. This is the problems, though, of these twists and turns in towards the finish, that people do get upended. And you're looking now at Mario Cipollini for his second time. He'll be collecting his stage victory.
Put the belt on Cipollini. That's his heart monitor.
When that crash happened, it went off the screen.
I'm sure it did, yeah.
They take it back and put it. They take these heart monitors back, put them in the computer, by the way, to read out what happened. And I think somehow it'll probably blow the computer. Let's have a look at this crash. Here we go. Right over as far as he can.
Oh, he punctured maybe.
Well, no, I think he probably couldn't make it. Slaps his brakes on.
Yeah, he's punctured.
Yeah.
He punctured the front tire. That's why he couldn't turn. But he was turning normally. It was.
Then he switched, didn't he?
Yeah.
Well, all may be calm out there. The ferries are taking the people backwards and forwards, but the people connecting with the Tour de France can now look back at these action replays and say, what on earth happened? He completely lost control. His bike bounced off the barriers, and everybody else then hitting the brakes, losing control of their bicycles, and just trying to ride around the bodies in front of them. And for many of them, there was nowhere to go but either into a body, into barriers, into the curb. And that brought down the interests of Nelson yet again. The sprinter who was being set up by his teammate from the Lotto team was doing a wonderful job leading him out, but also delayed in that crash the yellow jersey of Jalabert, which means that he's lost something like 50 seconds on general classification, which is really going to put him down the GC. And the best placed man on GC before in second spot was Ivan Gotti. Let's see if he's got the yellow jersey.
So it really was dramatic indeed, the 4th stage. We await the 5th stage, one of the longest. 4th may have been one of the shortest, but what an ending it was. Jalabert falling down into 8th place after leading. Ivan Gotti now taking over the yellow jersey. Well, the Seagulls of Le Havre bidding us a fond farewell, but it'll stay firmly in the minds of Sammy Morrels, the Belgian. It was he who took the puncture. The peloton followed him into the barrier, tumbling along with him a number of riders, including Laurent Jalabert, Fabio Baldado, of course, with facial injuries, also finishing. And there he comes home. Brave man indeed, still in the Tour. That's what counts. So stage 5, the largest stage tomorrow. Jalabert no longer in yellow. Down to 8th overall. It'll be the yellow jersey of Ivan Gotti of the Gewis team, the Italian leading Rees by just 1 second.
Compliments from Eurosport, Mario, on your win today. Complimenti per tua vittoria oggi. Il momento della caduta oggi, dove ti hai trovato? Where were you during the crash today?
Ma io ho avuto fortuna perché ero in terza posizione in quel momento, il primo corridore è caduto, io e Martinello siamo riusciti a evitare la caduta proprio perché eravamo davanti in quel momento.
He said he was very, very lucky to be in third position when the crash occurred. His teammates were bringing him to the front. Come ti trovi adesso con maglia verde? È la seconda volta nella tua carriera che prendi la maglia verde?
Ma la maglia verde non era un mio obiettivo in questo tour, se però le cose riescono ad andare bene così come in questo momento cercherò di provare, però il mio obiettivo è arrivare alla fine di questo tour e perciò cerco di avere meno stress possibile. Per me è più importante vincere 4 tappe che vincere mai la maglia verde.
Grazie Mario, a domani, ciao. Mario said that he asked him what I thought of him about the stage today and his second time in the yellow jersey, in the green jersey. He said it's a great feeling, but his objective in the Tour de France this year is not really the green jersey, it's to finish it, because he hasn't as yet finished the Tour de France.
A long way to go, not least Pagotty, Cipollini and the rest of them. 261 kilometres ahead of them in stage 5, the longest stage from Fécamp to Dunkirk. David Duffield and Stephen Roach, of course, carrying you through it live here on Eurosport, as it is with the rest of the Tour de France. Unrivaled coverage right here